Good evening. This is Maestro Crotella with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today we have a 3v3 on Valderus Refinery. Our first player today is Caeltos, the lead designer of Elite Mod. He is playing as the Techmarine. Techmarine is a Space Marine ranged hero. You can get an axe later on. He repairs vehicles. He can build relay beacons and turrets. He also does a lot of range damage. And he's got guns for many different occasions. His teammate, his first teammate, is Dark Riku, playing as the Force Commander. The Force Commander is a tanky melee hero. He's got a little extra health. He ties things up. He tanks damage. He distracts things, kind of. He also punches vehicles and disrupts things with Battle Cry. Next up, we've got Sir Topi. Sir Topi is playing as the Commissar Lord. The Commissar Lord is slightly tanky. He's got a free energy shield, gives him a little bit of extra health and durability to start out. But he also supports a bit with things like executing his troops to make them fight harder, the aura of discipline to heal his troops, and etc. On the other team, first of all, we've got Ace of Swords playing as this Apothecary running away in retreat. The Apothecary is a healing commander, does not start out with the durability of a full-on tanky melee hero, and instead, he heals his troops, or even himself, to give them durability that way. Next up, we got Crazyman. Ooh, we got a good angle with the Chaos Lord firing his combi bolter like that. Not such a great angle right now, but the Crazyman is playing as the Chaos Lord. The Chaos Lord is yet another tanky melee hero. He walks around in Terminator armor. He does a lot of, well, not a lot, but he does a little bit of range damage with that combi bolter, and also a little bit of melee damage with that power sword. He doesn't have the demon sword. And then finally, we've got Storm of Steel playing as the Orc Warboss. Yet another tanky melee hero, this one with a chain axe and a twin link shooter. Stomps, charges, and uses choppas and... blanked out on what the other one... Oh. Ard Boys. Alright. So, still 500 VPs for the red team, so they haven't given up any VPs yet. Right now it's actually a no-cap game, though. Red about to get their natural EP right here. We got tax and cover. They are being doubled, and a sniper shot from the scouts takes out one of the TAC models. I think those TAC models need to get out of there. We do have a Commissar Lord charging in, and overall it does seem like this is Ace of Swords right here, getting a bit overrun, and wow, the way the Commissar Lord really just managed to get around that firing arc. There was such a narrow area, although I don't think the Devastator was... Well, I think it was shooting at something else anyway. Well, he had to be shooting at something else. Alright, we got a Havoc setting up, but nothing in its arc of fire, and the Commissar Lord again, so some pretty tricky Commissar play from Sir Topi. He's always just happens to be in the right place at the right time, and that's giving him victory in this lane. Anyway, Sniper Scouts right here these are Dark Riku Sniper Scouts, apparently doing a lot of work. Ace of Swords still kind of stuck in his base. Double cap for the blue team, and soon to possibly even be a triple cap, or at least a 2-0. Meanwhile, Ace of Swords has some Sniper Scouts of his own, trying to return the sniper fire that Dark Riku Sniper Scouts are doing, but they're kind of like just straight trading Sniper Scout models. Meanwhile, over here we've got some blob capping, Storm of Steel and Crazyman both trying to capture the same point. We've also got some Shooter Boys, man. If those TACs just had like a slightly better angle on that retreat for those Shooter Boys, they probably could have taken out the entire squad. Shooter Boys being pretty weak overall, and TACs having decent melee damage. Even here, well, the Sluggers do have Ard Boys on them, so yeah, I guess that's not a whole lot's going to happen right there, but Shooter models definitely go down. And right here, Sir Topi is actually still exerting a lot of dominance, so because of that, Crazyman's coming to help out, and now they're actually doubling Sir Topi. Sir Topi also needs to be very careful about not path blocking his own Sentinel with his Guardsmen as well as his heavy weapon team. I actually think Sir Topi right now, he needs to get out of here, otherwise he's probably going to lose this Sentinel, and I mean, he's in fact probably going to... He's definitely not winning this engagement. He's definitely going to lose the Sentinel at this point. His Sentinel is gone. He might even risk losing some more units. I think he could possibly lose the heavy weapon team. Comes very close to losing a Guardsman squad as well. So unfortunately, Sir Topi really suffered in that engagement. He got doubled, and I don't think he pulled back fast enough. I think he really should have pulled out sooner. Meanwhile, over here, we've got a Techmarine nearly down. I don't think we'll go down in retreat, though. It's too far away. Warboss now overrunning things, and the Slugger Boys getting into melee. I feel like, well, I was going to say maybe those attacks could have stayed in there, but I think they were losing their support. One of the attack squads got tied up, although the Warboss actually went down. Anyway, now a double cap for the red team, but they're still behind in VPs overall. Scouts need to be... Oh, this is really bad for the Scouts, and they wiped themselves. Well, not entirely wiped themselves, but that grenade ended up being just not very good. He definitely naded himself a little bit, and then the Assault Marines just kind of cleaned up, and the Assault Marines had enough health to just tank out that grenade hit. Assault Marines managed to get out of there with 500 health, not losing a single model. Pretty lucky. And over here we've got double tacks. It feels like we've got a lot of double tack play right here. We've got Caeltos with double tacks, Dark Riku with double tacks, and I guess nice things about double tacks, you get quite a bit of firepower. Double tack. Each tack does about 44 DPS piercing, which is pretty good overall for Tier 1 range squads. It's one of the higher values for Tier 1 range squad DPS. Shooter Boys are higher, but they are also a squisher squad. So you get a lot of range DPS, and you also get durable range DPS. Durable platform, those tacks are pretty tough. Meanwhile, over here we've got some Shooter Boys in cover with 4 models, but just the positioning of these tacks coming in. Of course, Shooter Boys definitely want to stay in cover. Tacks, meanwhile, they were flanking. And I actually think these tacks right here could even afford to possibly commit to this engagement again. Oh, not that Use Your Choppers is active. But I mean, tacks with support can actually, I think sometimes they can actually commit to an engagement where they're actually meleeing sluggers if they have some support, like another squad providing some range damage behind it. In this case, it was another tack squad. So we've kind of got doubles going on both sides. Now again, with all these tacks right here, if they can find cover, like for instance this plant, they can actually do pretty well even against the huge amount of range DPS coming out of the Shooter Boys, just because the Shooter Boys, although they do more damage, they are much, much more fragile. Chaos Lord is going to come in here for a flank, but you know what? Between triple tacks right here, that actually did not go well for him at all, and now he will go down. However, we do now have double Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines from Crazyman. Overall, the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, they are much, much more powerful than the tacks, so they will actually be doing quite a number on the tacks. Although the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines are still getting hit by other things. They're losing some models from Sniper Scouts, also getting tied up by the Force Commander a little bit right there. But otherwise, Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, generally speaking, are outperform tacks quite a bit, especially if, again, you have Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines with that Tzeentch mark and the tacks with no upgrade or not even a Plasma Gun upgrade. The Plasma Gun upgrade is really the only thing that's going to make them comparable to the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. And then even with full upgrades, Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines generally just do more damage. Meanwhile, Assault Marines right here getting out here with only 1 model. They were fighting Catachan Devils, which they, for the most part, probably shouldn't have done. And double guardsmen walking into a heavy weapon team, just not going to work out at all. All right, we've got this Death Dread has been out of here for Storm of Steel. Looks like he went and burned a few generators using the flamers on the Death Dread, or the burners rather, but he's backed it off now that he's seen this Tactical Marine missile launcher, and it looks like his Death Dread has been hit by a single missile. Now I think he might actually want to stop capturing with these Slugger Boys. Well, maybe, maybe not. Just so we can provide that repair support to the Death Dread. The Death Dread is, we do have double missile launchers at the moment. 1 from Caeltos, 1 from Riku. Possibly more for all we know. So he does need to be careful. And we've got a lot of different artillery coming out. We've got the Whirlwind out of Caeltos. Caeltos likes to use this. He likes to show how it can be useful, and that's not necessarily to say that it's really good, but just to show that it can be used. Meanwhile, we've also got a Plasma Cannon Devastator out for Riku, which is not really in position to fight this Orc Blob over here, but one of these tack squads for Riku has upgraded to Stern Guard Veterans, and those are going to be very, very powerful against the Shooter Boys with their Hellfire Bolts, which will do a lot of damage to regular infantry squads. That being said, overall, they're still definitely going to lose to double Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, and even a single squad of Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, at least if it has an aspiring champion, would probably still outshoot the Stern Guard veterans. Meanwhile, we've got a Chimera now out for Sir Topi, and it doesn't look like we have, certainly not enough AV right here. The Zinj Chaos Space Marines will be able to just do a little bit of light damage to the Chimera, but really not enough to threaten it. The Zinj Chaos Space Marines would bleed a little bit from that without actually achieving much. Meanwhile, Autocannon Heavy Weapon Team not in such a great position, does manage to get out of there, and Catachan Devils use their Shotgun Blast, but they also get hit by Merciless Strike. Catachan Devils now really need to get out of there before they lose models. Catachan Devils generally don't lose a whole lot of models, but they do cost power to reinforce, so you don't actually want to let your Catachan Devils lose models, and you can help it quite a bit for the most part. You generally should not be losing more than 2 or 3 models on your Catachan Devils, because if you are losing more models than that, you're getting very, very close to losing the entire squad. Alright, double attacks right here. Trying to focus down this Warboss. He does have his spiky armor, which does make him quite a bit more tanky because he gets an extra 200 health, 250 rather, as well as increasing his health regeneration, which is sometimes underrated. But it seems like there have been a lot of changes in Elite Mod for upgrades now granting increased health regeneration, and that really increases staying power just because you can regenerate health and stay out on the field. But the Warboss still really overrunning things over here. I don't know if that was a special attack or a stomp, but either way, it knocked over a bunch of guys, and Warboss will not go down, actually. That was kind of a close call, but there was no range damage to finish him off there as he got away from the melee damage. Chimera in a ton of trouble, does manage to get out of the las cannon range, as well as continue to drive away from the Chimera. And the Emperor's Fist goes down before this Force Commander can actually land a Flesh over Steel. Dreadnought called in the chat, and the positioning of this Whirlwind is now pretty brazen, I feel. But we've got Missile Tack taking shots at the Death Dread. Las Cannon Devastator in a lot of trouble now. Really needs to be careful leaving a Las Cannon Devastator or really just any setup team out there with that kind of health. Can definitely risk losing it entirely. Meanwhile, most of what's going on is going to happen over here, and that's surely going to be a dead Death Dread. Yeah, Mark Target does not stand a chance against a Death Dread and a Missile Attack, and we've got the Dreadnought on Death Dread Sync Kill. It's going to knock it over. Oh no, that's the Wraith Lord. The Wraith Lord just kind of pushes over a Dreadnought. All right, Chimera still driving around for Sir Topi, is managing to actually keep it alive even with the just more AV coming out on the field. The Chaos Lord goes down. I feel like he's been down, well, he's been down at least twice, I believe. Anyway, Sniper Scouts get the cap off, and then they just need to straight up get out of there. Meanwhile, the Warboss is going to capture the natural VP for the blue team again. He has been upgraded to a Power Claw, so he will be quite threatening against vehicles and walkers. Well, all vehicles, but especially walkers, which will not really be able to run away from the Warboss. Anyway, Assault Marines jumping in, probably going to go for a Melt-A-Bomb. Yes, Melt-A-Bomb goes off. He's going to try to follow up with anything. No. So he doesn't have anything to follow up with. That doesn't really achieve a whole lot, because of course that damage will get repaired. That being said, at least one of the Guardsman squads is going away, retreating. The other one, yes, so there are no squads inside this Chimera, which means it's not going to have any repair support immediately. And Red Team overall certainly having the better end of things. They've got a nice VP lead, about 150 VPs advantage. Anyway, we've got a Plasma Cannon shot, goes in, but ultimately hits nothing. And we've got a Techmarine turret going down. The good old Tarantula. Meanwhile, these things from Ace of Swords going to have to get out of here. As well as Autocannon Heavy Weapon Team is setting up. Can definitely do damage to the Dreadnought, but it also will not snare, and the Assault Marines are just going to jump right on top of that Heavy Weapon Team. Heavy Weapon Team has not been upgraded with the Refractor, and it's going to get wiped. Oh my god, wow. It took so much damage so quickly. But I guess the Dreadnought got there, and then we also have the Apothecary with the Anointed Power Axe. I was going to say that Chimera could potentially be in trouble, but there was no Melt-A-Bomb because the Assault Marines did not have the energy to use it. They now have enough energy. Will they go for it? Oh my god, Tactical Marines just losing models. Oh my god, look at the models they are losing just against that plasma gun guardsman fire. Even in retreat, these Techmarines are in a lot of trouble, but they do manage to get out of there. Overall, though, Sir Topi definitely pushed back in his base. It's now a double cap for the blue team, even though Sir Topi is getting pushed back. But now is... Ace of Swords jumps in. I was not sure. I was surprised that he did that. Maybe he wasn't paying enough attention to his energy, because he was not going to have the energy to both jump in as well as use the Melta. But this is now quite dangerous. Well, at first it was dangerous for Sir Topi, because this Dreadnought has upgraded to the Multi-Melta, a ranged weapon. But at the same time, now we've got some Ogrins out on the field, and they're going to be able to chase down this Dreadnought. Dreadnought cannot get away. It needs support. And instead he actually goes for the Apothecary. I don't know. Well, I guess he was going for like the guarantee of not taking out that Apothecary rather than the chance of taking out the Dreadnought but getting nothing. That being said, I still feel like certainly the bigger prize was the Dreadnought, and I think he had a decent chance. I don't think there was enough support for this Dreadnought in time. Now he's going for it, and at this point he will not be able to take out the Dreadnought. Probably we're going to see a merciless strike from the Assault Marines, and actually, well, not even a merciless strike, just Sir Topi backing off. He does lose his Bonehead leader, and he's not going to be able to take out the Devastator Marine squad in retreat. And now these Sir Ogrins have to go. They lost their Bonehead leader, lose a model. Going to be pretty costly to reinforce the member as well as buy back that Bonehead leader. Ooh, so it sounds like we've got a Predator? Well, I heard Predator, but that's because we have a Land Raider Phobos, and of course, all of the voice sound effects for any of the new units are going to be copied from some other kind of unit, so whenever the Space Marine units see a Land Raider Phobos, they're going to think it's a Predator, and they'll say Predator Assault. Just like they'll think that a Chaos Terminator is a Havoc. B. Miluta takes out the Whirlwind finally, and the Whirlwind unfortunately just kind of stood there. Or, well, didn't really stand, of course. But it didn't really move.
The enemy is capturing one of our strategic...
Chimera's still driving around, even getting repairs from the Blessing of the Omnissiah. If there are some guardsmen in there, if they just get out of there, they could probably do a lot of damage to this devastating Marine squad. I actually feel that's what they should do. Take the guardsmen out, and then just shoot up that devastated Marine squad. But there's a lot of other stuff here. I think a little presence of mind from Sir Topi to get those guardsmen out earlier and target the devastated Marine squad, they might still take out the devastated Marines anyway. But instead, I think we're going to see the end of this Chimera. Yeah, so he unfortunately should have taken out that devastated Marine squad much earlier, and doesn't even take out the devastated Marine squad. He will get the Dreadnought, I think, but he's also losing a lot of Ogren models in the process, because that Devastator, that Dreadnought was probably being supported by the Blessing of the Omnissiah. Ace of Swords losing a lot of stuff, where he will get this Assault Marine squad out of there.
200 points remaining.
VP's evening up a little bit. It was quite a VP lead for the red team. They've suffered some losses, particularly Ace of Swords. Now we've got 158 to 193. I think this Dreadnought being very, very brazen does take out, oh my god, nearly wiped that Heretic squad that was repairing the Land Raider Phobos, and that does leave the Land Raider Phobos unsupported. We've got a Land Raider Redeemer right here, as well as a bunker going up behind it. You know, we've also got some Tax in a little bit of trouble, and Mark Target on the Warboss is certainly not good for him. A lot of things going on right now. Las Cannon taking shots from afar, but it's not actually targeting the Land Raider Redeemer, or is it? I don't think so. A lot of things going on right here. This Land Raider Redeemer, I was going to say it may want to back up, but actually the Land Raider Redeemer really seems to be winning out. Just the support of the Land Raider Redeemer ultimately proving to be stronger than the power of those vehicles. And the looted tank goes down. Las Cannon takes a shot at it, and it goes down. Land Raider Phobos kind of running with its, what is that, like, tail behind its, geez, I don't know, but it's just running away. Oh my god, actually in a really bad position right now. The Las Cannon Devastator will take a shot at it, and they need to do something like focus down that Las Cannon Devastator, because this Phobos is in a terrible position. I think the most it's going to hope for is block line of sight, but I don't think so, actually. I think this Land Raider Phobos, oh yeah, the Land Raider Phobos is done. Ooh. Alright. Meanwhile, over here we've got some Assault Marines jumping in. They're going to disrupt those Plasma Cannon Devastators, but they're also, well, I thought they were going to get suppressed by the Tarantula turret, and instead they're going to wipe the Plasma Cannon Devastator. Man, that Tarantula turret was just straight up shooting at something else, and that ended up, well, costing the lives of the Plasma Cannon Devastator. You know, we've got a Terminator call in. This is for Ace of Swords. He's called in ranged Terminators, of course, because he doesn't have access to melee Terminators. They're going to be pretty powerful. I think they don't want to be in melee with the Ogrins, but certainly against any of the Imperial Guard range squads, they will be quite effective. So they teleport out of there. Although the Chaos Lord was there to support him, he would have helped out a lot against the Ogrins. He could have knocked them down and done a lot of power melee damage to them with those lightning claws to threaten those Ogrins to retreat. Meanwhile, we've got the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines losing a ton of models. In part because we've got Stern Guard veterans as well as a plasma gun tack, and the Stern Guard veterans do have vengeance rounds loaded in, which, not vengeance rounds. Is it vengeance rounds. To do more damage to heavy infantry. Or rather, Kraken bolts. Yeah, they've got Kraken bolts loaded in. Cyclone missile launchers. So we've got the Cyclone missile launcher upgraded from Ace of Swords Terminators, and while all of the Space Marines right here are just using this Land Raider Redeemer as a reinforcement point, they're also being bolstered by this Imperial Guard bunker right here. Now we've got an orbital bombardment on all of this stuff. The blue team has really come back a lot on the power of this Land Raider Redeemer from Dark Riku. I wonder, was he the one who sent me this replay? I don't remember. Oh my god, I think that was like a tax sergeant that just got majorly gibbed. Yeah, those Terminators really could not stay in there against both Ogrins and Catachan Devils. Meanwhile, we've got a Rocks in the middle. I did not even see what it hit. It looks like it may have actually killed a few things, but I think the Rocks, let's see, the Rocks belong to Storm of Steel. That Rocks would have been really better. Well, I think he probably went to go directly on top of the Land Raider, but then move back. Here's an Imperial Abyss on top of all these things, wiping a ton of squads because they're all retreating right here, and they're not going inside the Land Raider Redeemer. Does not do a whole lot to this bunker, though. Oh my god, so many things are dying in just these last few, potentially last few minutes. I don't know if this is going to be the last few minutes. Chaos Space Marines get out of there by the skin of their teeth. And we've got, oh my god, finally I think this Land Raider Redeemer almost seems like it's in trouble. We've got Knobs coming here. They do have Frenzy active. They should go for the turret first. Take out the turret, and then I think their next priority would, oh, the Land Raider Redeemer now in a ton of trouble. I think their next priority should be the Land Raider Redeemer, but the Land Raider Redeemer might get finished off by these las cannons. In fact, it most likely will. The Commissar Flare was there to hopefully save the Land Raider Redeemer. I think the Land Raider Redeemer was 100% snared by double las cannons. That being said, it goes down. And it's actually a 1-0 cap for the red team. Oh my god, look at the unit panels. Look at how much the blue team has lost. And Sir Topi, I don't know if he just gave up, but he just gave up that guardsman squad. Two heroes, all three blue team heroes on the floor. They look like they were on the path to make such an incredible comeback, and well, unfortunately, they kind of completely dropped the ball in the end, or the red team just made the comeback after blue team was going to make the comeback. But I feel like I hear another nuke. Do I? No, I don't think so. Anyway, Apothecary in here. This is Ace of Swords Apothecary. Unfortunately, he gets knocked down. I think he tried to use Purification Rites to knock down the Ogrins, but instead they knocked down him using their Bonehead Charge. And overall, the red team taking this back very decisively in the... And, yeah, Dark Riku has totally lost hope. Triple cap for the red team. Complete turnaround. And what do we see? Do we hear another nuke or something? So it looks like the red team is going to take this. They have their triple cap. Riku has nothing. And yeah, they are definitely going to take this game. An orbital bombardment. This is probably from Caeltos and like just for fun. And there we go. Orbital bombardment, killing some orcs. But red team most likely gonna, yeah, definitely gonna take this one.
The acceptance of defeat is
And
an
blue team
invitation
concedes
for
before the
its repetition.
VPs completely run out. Well, hope you enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.